And welcome back. I'm Jeff Gillen. We told you several weeks ago about troubles facing potential buyers of hotel condo units at Trump Las Vegas. Assessor records show less than 20% of closed escrow. Now about 200 would-be buyers are asking Trump to return their 20% deposits. They claim the tower isn't what it was trumped up to be, that units are smaller than expected, and that the building, heralded at 64 stories, has only 54 floors.
Take the context of a housing market where everybody wants to be the biggest and the baddest, and everyone wants to have the biggest, newest, greatest project around. Then if you've got a reduction in the number of floors, that could be very material, and that could certainly be a basis to rescind purchase contract.
We should note it has only 56 floors, our mistake. For those who don't know, a story is a building term that equates to 10 feet, and since Trump's tower is 640 feet tall, he is within his right to call it 64 stories regardless of the number of floors. Congress is taking a closer look at construction safety. Lawmakers in Washington grilled OSHA this week about the large number of construction deaths, especially here in Las Vegas. Channel 8's Edward Lawrence reports.
The tone of the discussion was apparent from the first minutes. OSHA and the independent Nevada OSHA were put on notice.
We don't need competing priorities. We need to keep our workers safe and healthy. What will it take?
Edwin Folk, the head of OSHA, says that his agency does protect workers and has safety training programs. The lawmakers heard those programs are voluntary. AFL-CIO Construction Trade President Mark Ayers says at Project City Center, only 1,000 of the 6,000 workers have been through the 10-hour OSHA safety training course. He went on to say an average of 1,400 construction workers die each year nationwide, more than the average of 821 soldiers killed in Iraq in the same period.
It seems as though if American construction workers are viewed as disposable commodities. It is an absolute outrage, and it's something that I take very personally.
Lawmakers learned the death of Harold Billingsley at City Center on October 5th, 2007, prompted a $13,500 fine and citations because it could have been prevented.
Nevada OSHA then met privately with the company and withdrew all citations and fines.
You have a repeat offender, you have Perini, and these fines keep going away. I don't get it.
The committee could not believe what they were hearing. Representative George Miller says fines were imposed, then brushed off time and time again in Las Vegas. The outrage will prompt lawmakers to decide what laws need to be changed or if more safety enforcement should be mandated. Edward Lawrence, Channel 8 Eyewitness News.
Station Casino's newest property will open in the fall. The locals gaming giant says it will open Liante Station on Tuesday, November 11th. The $675 million property sits near the 215 Beltway and Liante Parkway in North Las Vegas. It will feature more than 200 rooms, a 16-screen movie theater, and a 600-seat concert venue. Liante Station is a joint venture between Station Casinos and the Greenspun Corporation. The Greenspun family is a partner in this cable channel. The Service Employees International Union Local 1107 is under new leadership. President Vicki Hederman and Executive Director Jane McAlevey resigned this week. The resignation comes after months of infighting, allegations of an overturned election in which McAlevey's opponents won, and division over the union's endorsement of Democratic presidential candidate Barack Obama in January. The SEIU represents 17,500 health care and public workers here in Nevada. The union elected Executive Vice President Shauna Hamill to succeed Vicki Hederman as president. Union leaders are still searching for McAlevey's replacement. So where does the union go from here? And here to answer that question is the new SEIU Local 1107 President Shauna Hamill. Welcome. Thank you for coming on our program. So how does this transition help the union move forward?
One of the greatest things about what's just happened this week is seeing how the transition has happened so smoothly. We are able to come together in a united front. Our board was able to accept the resignations, understanding the contributions that both Jane and Vicki had made over the past number of years, and then unite together in focusing back on what it is that our members are saying is important to them, which is making Nevada work for working families.
I mean, are there hard feelings to the extent that going forward could be difficult?
I think that what we're seeing right now and what we saw this week with our executive board is actually a time of healing and a time of unity. There is really a focus on moving forward and together coming and as a union focusing back on what it is that we need to achieve for our members.
Yeah, you almost you faced competition from the California Nurses Association at the it almost won the right to represent your folks at St. Rose. What lessons did you take away from that? You won, you beat them, but narrowly. What lessons did you take away from that?
I think when the California Nurses Association decided to come to Nevada, we have to realize that Nevada is certainly not the only state where the California Nurses Association has tried to come in and to an already unionized facility. What we've learned from it is essentially that we need to continue to communicate with our members and have them understand what it is that a union is, which is engaging workers and having them together move their agendas forward. It's interesting, though, moving towards what will be next is there are millions of nurses across the country that still do not have any representation, and we would hope that the California Nurses Association would take their focus.
I have to ask you because you also represent public employees, and there was that study that came out this week saying that public employees earn more than their private sector counterparts. I mean, do you fear that the takeaway for the general public is that public employees are overpaid?
It's always interesting to us when comparisons come out, and typically they do come out in a time of financial crisis, and it's always a take of how it is that those numbers are presented. We firmly believe that our represented members are being paid what they deserve, and they've earned that right to be represented at the bargaining table and to move forward with what is important to them, which is continuing to build their benefits and to continuing to have the right to retire.
We are unfortunately out of time. I want to thank you for your time today. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Time is running out for the federal government to get top dollar for the Crazy Horse 2 strip club. A federal judge this week denied the government's motion to extend a city-imposed deadline on the club. The city plans on Monday to pull the club's special permit that allows both liquor and exotic dancing. Now, without the permit, the club's value is expected to plummet. The federal government seized the club to satisfy judgments and fines levied against former owner Rick Rizzolo. Rizzolo was sent to prison in 2006 for conspiracy to commit tax evasion. And when In Business comes back, a Las Vegan wins a multi-million-dollar judgment against a big-name insurer. Plus, she says she was fired when she tried to protect her friend and employer, Steve Wynn. We'll have an update on an In Business exclusive when we come back.
You're watching In Business Las Vegas with Jeff Gillen, a program presented in partnership with the Las Vegas Sun, Cox Communications, and KLAS TV.